Today, a new exotic quest was released, which is for the new exotic weapon Leviathan's Breath, a heavy exotic bow. I think it's quite cool and interesting to have a bow in the heavy slot, joining many other unique heavy weapons. This bow has two main perks, first being Big Game Hunter. It fires a massive heavy bolt that staggers unshielded enemy combatants, which is strong against unstoppable champions. And the second perk, which is Leviathan's Sigh. When fully drawn, the bolt creates a large concussive blast that knocks enemies back. The draw time on this bow is much longer than most other bows, as you'd expect from a heavy bow. It has a 1328 millisecond draw time, which is roughly 1.33 seconds. In the Crucible, when pulling heavy ammo and using this weapon, you can expect to pull 2 arrows in most game modes. However, if you're using a bow scavenger and you find a brick of heavy ammo on the ground from a fallen teammate or enemy, you'll actually pick up more ammo with 4 arrows. The AoE effect of Leviathan's Breath is very similar to an AoE stomp attack mechanic from a boss in a strike or a raid. It pretty much just pushes enemies away. The knockback effect radius is roughly 5 meters and deals a maximum of 2 ticks of 50 damage to those within that 5 meters. Although the damage from that AoE lowers based on the distance of the target from the arrow within that AoE radius. The strength of the knockback also scales to how far they are from the arrow within that 5-meter radius. And I don't think this is really necessary to be said. I'm pretty sure most just assume it would. It does one-shot guardians to the body. But it doesn't stop there. It performs exceptionally well against supers, being able to one-shot supers to the body with its delayed AoE damage. And that's not just roaming supers, it will one-shot shutdown supers mid-animation like Blade Barrage. This bow doesn't affect the Code of the Commander shield block. It takes 3 to 4 arrows to drain that super, and the same doesn't really affect the Sentinel block, but it still at least does apply the AoE and pushes a Sentinel that's blocking back, and it only takes 3 arrows to drain their super and deals that last bit of AoE damage on the last arrow since it takes them out of their super. Funny enough though, it does push enemies out of the Titan bubbles. If you aim at the lower portion of the bubble and the enemies within that 5-meter AoE radius, it will push them outside of the bubble. Sadly though, it does not stop a Slova Bomb in one shot, it does not cause it to shatter in one shot, and it doesn't have an AoE effect on the smaller Axions from the Slow Nova Bomb. And this shouldn't be a shocker, but of course it does kill enemies in Well of Radiance in one shot as well, and still applies the AoE effect to enemies inside of Well of Radiance. I think the stats on this weapon are honestly irrelevant. You're not really using this for the stats, you're using it because it's a heavy exotic bow, but regardless, we'll go over them. It has 60 impact, 89 accuracy, 14 stability, 10 handling, 10 reload speed, 66 aim assist, 20 zoom, 75 recoil direction, and an inventory size of 10, and I believe with 2 bow reserve perks, I was able to hold 11 arrows. I think this is a fun, interesting weapon in PvP or in Crucible. I think it performs really well against supers, and if you have the bow, of course, charged up or drawn, you're ready for a super to kill it nearly instantly. But at the same time, you only get 2 arrows, which is a bit disappointing. I kind of wish, I'm not an advocate for more heavy ammo, but for this one, I wish you got maybe 1 more arrow since it was more along the lines of a precision weapon or a sniper, and I do want those weapons to get a little bit more ammo rather than a rocket launcher. Of course though, because the ammo is so similar to that of like a Wardcliff, still pulling 1 volley, which can pretty much decimate a super, I think Wardcliff or other exotics might still be better than this if you're looking for the most effective thing. Not to say this doesn't have potential though, because I think, again, just the versatility of having a weapon that can one-shot at very far ranges is very powerful, so I think it still has a place and can be good. If you're not good with bows like myself, it is worth mentioning that the Oath Keepers, of course, do work with this bow, allowing you to hold the draw pretty much indefinitely and at that peak draw, so you are always ready to essentially take out a super or just one-hit someone. As far as PvE goes, I don't think this weapon's a really great damage dealing weapon per se, but I do think the main purpose of it, like the other exotics that have come in Shadowkeep, is to be used and utilized in those master nightfalls, the 980 ones or even the 950 ones as well, anywhere that has champions. Divinity has the disruption effect and Ariana's Vow has the anti-barrier effect, so you can probably guess that yes, Leviathan's Breath does have the unstoppable stagger effect. So this is an excellent choice against the unstoppable champions. If we think back a few weeks ago to the Master Nightfall, there was a lot of unstoppable ogres even in the boss room, and this would be very good against them because it not only staggers them, but it stops them from pushing you. It will push them back, and it will stop them from being very aggressive, which will give your team an opening to quickly kill them before being in too much danger. And the stagger effect isn't limited to those unstoppable champions. It can be done on any enemy that doesn't have their shields present. So if you need to stop an enemy from shooting at you so you can really just melt them, this is a good weapon to do that with and will deal massive damage on that initial shot that'll stagger them. And of course the AoE effect will spread to mobs of enemies, so it will work to stop mobs from pushing you or just mobs that happen to be around a bigger enemy that you're focusing on. And for just a quick damage sample, this weapon against our Lost Sector Ogre dealt 40,223 damage plus 2,043 damage from the AoE effect, which is roughly 5% of the total damage, and of course that damage will taper like in PvP to the other enemies depending on how far away they are from the arrow. And I was able to fire 4 arrows in 10 seconds, or in a 10-second period of time, with the full damage per arrow being 42,226 damage, and 4 arrows shot in 10 seconds. That'll give us roughly 169,064 total damage in a 10-second window of time, giving us 16,906 DPS. Anyways, that's all the information I have for you guys on the Leviathan's Breath. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see more content like this, you can check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Drewskys. I hope to see some of you guys there, but nonetheless, again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.